Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Miss Abby94, and you already know what it is. I'm back at it again with back at it again with another recap. Y'all, we have made it to week 9. This episode was actually pretty interesting, so you already know I'm gonna get into it, but you know before then, you know what you got to do, boo. You got to stay tuned. Duh. Hey, what's up, y'all? And welcome back to my channel. Oh my goodness, it's so good to re-interact with y'all. If you were on this week's live stream, you already know it was lit, it was popping, and we had such a good time. I want to thank each and every person who tuned into the week 9 live stream. If you do not know me by now, my name is Abby, also known as the Black girl who watches The Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I do these recaps. I get into it. I give you all the tea. So if you're new here, I just want to let you know, boo, you are part of the clan. You are part of the family. So what you need to do is you need to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell right next to it. And then definitely give this video a like and leave a comment down below, because I promise you that you will have something to comment about. Just trust me, boo. Okay? And if you are a returning person who watches these videos and just decides that you're just gonna watch it without subscribing, first of all, here's what we not gonna do. What we not gonna do is play with each other. We cool. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, show the kids some love, okay? Thank you. So I think the theme of week 9 is, oh my God, we're in Thailand. Thailand. Like, I wish I counted how many times they said the word Thailand in this episode, but the theme is we're in Thailand, and they will never let us forget it. We kick off the episode with Becca talking about where she is with each guy. We're seeing B-roll footage of the guys, you know, lollygagging around Thailand, and we're hearing Becca relate to us how she's feeling about each guy. She starts off with Garrett, and she tells us that she is in love with Garrett. Going into this week, she's sure of her feelings, she's sure of where she is with him, and now the biggest concern for her is figuring out if Garrett will be serious enough and give her the love and support that she needs in order to sustain the relationship and the future marriage that they will have. Can they push it to the next level, and can this be a life partner for her? Then she talks about Jason. She tells us that she is falling in love with him, and she's very clear on using the words falling, y'all. She says that every time she sees him, she just feels like she's in the best company, and she knows that Jason could be her best friend. Then we hear her talking about Blake. We already know from before, but she tells us again that she is in love with Blake. She says that something about him is just different. He just makes her feel different. She can see a clear future with him, and also that she just can't see her life without him. So I think opening up this episode, we're getting a lot of great information about how Becca is really feeling about these guys. She's being open, she's being candid, and I think it's the biggest indicator of where she stands and what this episode will look like, and also what might go into her final decision making for picking the guy who's going to be her fiance. Obviously, this week is the week of fantasy suites, y'all. I'm just really excited to see how this personal time progresses all of these relationships. The first fantasy suite date is with Blake. Now we're seeing Blake and Becca meet up. Oh my goodness, again, we know this every single time. Becca runs straight into Blake's arms, and she is so excited to see him. They're mentioning how they've missed each other. Apparently it's been about 2 weeks since they saw each other. Who knows if that's show 2 weeks or if it's actual 2 weeks, but let's just go with 2 weeks. They said it's been about 2 weeks since they've seen each other, so they are really greeting each other like it's been 2 weeks. Let's just say that. All over him. She's all over him, hugging him so tight, and the energy is so high. It's so cute. It's so in love, and I'm definitely feeling it at this point. I'm feeling it. I'm in my feels, y'all. They'll be going hiking, and once they get to the place they're going, she'll tell him more. So they start hiking and updating each other about how they feel. She's telling him, I've missed you so much. I always miss you when I'm not around you. He's confirming the same thing. He misses her so much. He wants to be around her, and he feels like this time with her is so imperative. Like, being away from her for such a long period of time made him realize how much he doesn't want to be away from her anymore. So they're really just catching up and telling each other how much they value each other's time and value being together. And y'all, I was definitely in my little feelings. I was in my bag. I thought it was so cute. So they reached their destination that she mentioned earlier, and it is a Buddhist temple. Now she tells Blake, we at this temple, we gonna have a good time, but I gotta let you know there's a few rules. So the first one is we can't kiss. And the second one is once we cross that threshold you see up there, we can't touch each other either. Now Blake's face was definitely like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, you bring me to a date where we literally can't have any physical contact, and I haven't seen you in weeks. Like, the things I do for you, Becca, and also the things you do to be on TV, but who's counting? So they get all of their energy out of the way, and they do enter into the Buddhist temple. Now, I absolutely love the scenery we're seeing here in Thailand. I'm so glad. If y'all know me, you know I drag their budget every single week. And I'm so glad to see them in a foreign country. Thailand is absolutely gorgeous, and this temple is nothing short of amazing. The architecture is beautiful. The greenery around it is beautiful. Every single piece in this place is absolutely gorgeous, and it just makes you feel super serene. I was feeling serene even through the TV. So they enter and they have a seat and they greet the main monk, and the monk is basically telling them about Buddhist traditions. He is going to give them general information about how to maintain love. So the monk does describe that with love, it takes 4 principles. It's honesty, it's compromise, it's patience, and it's giving. And the monk gives very specific examples of what each of those values means. And you can just see between Becca and Blake, the eye contact that they're giving each other, they're really, really connecting to what the monk is saying. It seems to be what they know they need in their relationship. Obviously, we know we need honesty with the background that Becca has had. We know we need a little bit of patience. You know, because Blake can get a little ahead of himself. We also know we need compromise because, hello, they're on a show and they're gonna have to meet halfway in the middle. Of course, they need to be giving, because at the end of the day, what's a relationship without give and take? They leave the temple and they're walking out, and as soon as they walk out, they right back on each other. They was like, okay, they didn't hold us down for too long. Becca again in this moment mentions how honesty was the one that stuck out to her the most, because that's what she didn't have in her past relationship with y'all know who. She basically says that when it came to their relationship, it was always like a dark hole, an unknown elephant in the room, and she was never ever able to get a straight answer from Ari, and that was something that she really realized she needs, because it just doesn't make her feel secure in the relationship. So she definitely lays it out to Blake and tells him, that's my most important value, and I totally agree with everything we learned before, but I think that those are the things that I admire that you are with me. You're always open, you're always honest, and that's what's been able to take our relationship to the next level. They're both agreeing in this moment that the values that they learned are there. So now it's time for dinner. Now Blake and Becca are sitting down and they are about to have dinner. Y'all know they're not going to eat, but they're going to have a good conversation. And one thing that they are clear on is how into each other they are. Blake is completely in love with her. We've known this from probably 3 weeks ago, and it keeps reoccurring in this episode. He keeps reminding us that he is in love with her. He wants to be with her. He is nervous about where she is with the other guys, and that is what he wants to talk about with her tonight. He wants to understand, where do they stand? How does his feelings compare to some of these other guys? And I think he's trying to get to the bottom and see if he's really at the top of the bunch. Does he have something to worry about? Blake is freaking out. He is concerned about ending up with her and another guy ending up with her, and this dinner is imperative about figuring out where he stands in this whole thing. I never knew I could feel this way about someone, and I have put it all out there, and you have made me comfortable putting it all out there, and it just makes me feel like we keep getting better and better. And even with time and even with space, I miss you when I'm not with you. And Becca is smitten hearing that. She's literally staring at him and is just like, I agree, I miss you so much. And I think every time we're together, we're just always progressing. Now, once Blake gets that whole lovey-dovey, kiss, kiss out of the way, he's like, okay, let me see if I can get some tea from her. So he just starts throwing breadcrumbs like, you know what? It wasn't until about 2 weeks ago where I started to get really, really nervous about this whole thing. And that nervousness came from feeling like there was a possibility that you had a connection like we have with another one of the guys. And Becca, throughout this entire speech, is just staring at him. So y'all remember that. She's just looking at him like, you about to press me? Oh. I feel like there is connections with elsewhere, and I don't know how to handle it. I don't know how to handle it because I feel like our connection is so strong, and I know where I stand, and I know I can be the best guy for you. And I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose this. And Becca, struggling to give a response, is just like, yeah, like, I completely understand. I understand that it's hard to be in this process. I remember what it felt like for me when I was in this week. I feel like I was, you know, a little bit unsure, and I was nervous because there was other people still in the picture, but she just tells him that it's important to focus on what you have, not to focus on the other relationships. But also she's trying to acknowledge what he's feeling, but she's really not giving him too much reassurance. I think this is something I mentioned in my live stream. I think this is something that Becca heavily struggles with. She doesn't really know how to appease what these guys are saying or make them feel a little more secure. She just listens to their complaints, especially with Blake, listens to how he's feeling and just kind of lets him talk himself through his feelings, like verbalize them and let him come up with the answer on his own. She does not give him too much reassurance, too much of anything. And I think it's something that she could do better. She really could do better with giving these guys a little bit more. Like, damn, he was damn near about to cry, and she was just like, interesting. I don't know what to tell you, bro. It was at this moment where I started to feel like, oh my God, our Blake could be getting set up right now. She's not giving him any reassurance about how she's feeling about him. She's not trying to comfort him when he is verbalizing that he's scared about the other guys. She's not really giving him any comfort in this moment. And I started to see that, yeah, Becca, she's really torn. I'm seeing that she is torn to the point where she doesn't even want to give him hope. She doesn't want to give him comfort. She doesn't want to do any of that until she is sure that it's going to be Blake. Every time we're together, things just keep getting better. It's almost like crazy how much better things are getting and how much more feelings I'm gaining for you. And I just can't believe how well we're doing. And he was just like, yes, I can believe it. We're the perfect match, and I just know that things are going to get better. Nothing is going to stop where we're going. And she gets all like, no, don't say that. Don't say good things are happening, blah, 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 because I'm superstitious, and when things are going well, like, I don't like to verbalize them. She's like, let's knock on wood or whatever. And he's just like, no, I'm in this. He's like, I'm in love with you. He's like, in a relationship, if I'm into you, I'm not looking for a reason to leave. I'm looking for a reason to stay. And with you, there's a million reasons why I want to stay. And I was just like, Jesus, take my heart. That was so, oh my God. And you could see that it snatched Becca's heart because she was just like, oh, oh. He tells her he is more in love with her than he was the ex that his mom said he was crying over for weeks. Like, Blake is in this hard. He ain't going down without a fight. He's going to let her know how he feels about her. She's happy that he feels so strongly about her. So, of course, the fantasy suite date card does come. Does say if you want to forgo your rooms for one room. That was 11, but one room. And, of course, he accepts the time. And they go in there, y'all. She is all over him. Like, all over him. I was like, they haven't even turned the cameras off. Y'all ready to get it popping, okay? It's a super nice suite. They have a bathroom. Thank God. You know how they did Becca last season. And they are looking so comfortable. Oh my goodness. So she is saying in her confessional how she loves this date. She's loved the time they've had. And she cannot wait to have this personal time with Blake because she knows that when they wake up in the morning, he's going to still feel the same way about her. So they do wake up the next morning, and of course, Becca's in the bed, chilling. She has on a robe, so you know, we have to infer what went on. Blake was looking like a snack this episode, and I know for damn sure she didn't pass that up. I know she didn't. They're just canoodling and talking about how much they enjoyed the time and how they feel like it progressed their relationship in general, and how they know where they are, they know where they stand, and they know that they have a lot more to learn about each other, and they're so excited to keep growing and keep going forward. But the date and the overnight portion just pushed their relationship to the next level. He tells the camera that he is even more in love with her, and we already know that Becca is completely into him as well. So it just seems like this solidified what we already know. Blake and Becca all 2018. Like, I'm Team Blake. I'm Team Blake. What's good? So now it is time for Jason's date. Now we're hearing Becca introducing how she feels about Jason. We know from the earlier, she said she is falling in love with him, but she knows that she can get there with him. She might not be all the way in love with him, but she sees so much potential in what they do have. She knows that they have such a incredibly special bond, and it's something that rivals all of the other connections she does have. It's so unique in that way. So she is very excited to see Jason tonight and get this extra time with him. So they meet up with each other, hug super tight, and she does tell Jason that they are going to be exploring and they're going to be going through the market. Now, I told y'all that I'm not trying to see no more exploring dates. I think I said that a few weeks ago. But for the sake of the fact that they're in Thailand and they're going to be exploring a market, I was like, I'm going to let y'all slide. I'm going to let it slide this one time. But I don't want to see these exploring dates no more. Okay? They are going through the market and they are just bopping around, and you know when Jason and Becca are together, it's a whole mood, it's a whole vibe. I feel like Jason brings out a very energetic, spunky side of Becca. He makes her feel secure enough to just be silly and goofy. They get to this stand where there's crickets, different types of crickets, and Jason's just like, we in Thailand, let's eat these crickets. Let's do all of them. And I'm just like, it couldn't be me. Jason is one of those people that will hype you up. He will have you feeling like you could do anything. Like, let's hop out of a plane. Yeah, I'll go with you, Jason. Let's get on a roller coaster. I'll go with you, Jason. Let's go for a run. Like, he seems like he's just one of those people that's super, like, a good person to have in your life because they'll encourage you to do the things you wouldn't normally do. They take one of each cricket and they put them things in their mouth. They're commenting on the texture of the crickets and what it tastes like. They talk about how one tastes smoky, how they could taste legs. Like, clearly this date, they are into each other enough to eat crickets together. So it seems like this is getting off to a pretty decent start. They're walking and looking at architecture for this building, and they're just cracking jokes. On the side, he's just like, oh my God, look at how tall this is. Oh, I can see this in my house. And she's like, oh, I can see that in my house too. And then they're just going back and forth, making little small jokes about, all of the scenery they're seeing here in Chiang Mai, and also just like how much fun they're having. Like, she's just having such a ball with him, and the energy is definitely very jovial. So they get to the back of this building and they're commenting on the patch where Becca is just like, ooh, could you see that in your apartment? And he's just like, yeah. She was like, can you see that in your Seattle high rise? And he was just like, yeah, high rise. And they're just like joking about that. And then she was like, ooh, can you see that in our house? And he was just like, I actually could. But as soon as Becca says, could you see that in our house? The energy of the date just completely changes. She was definitely like, why did I just say that? So at some point throughout this time, she does ask for a moment away from him, and she is doing a ITM, and she's telling them that I told him that I could see that thing in our house. And as soon as I said our house, I realized that I can't see a future with him. Like, I realized in that moment that he's just not the one in this process. I'm freaking out because I don't know what to do. I didn't expect it to happen in that moment. I'm just like, I think that Becca came into this date knowing what had to be done. She came in knowing that he was at the bottom of the totem pole. She really liked him. She already said she's falling in love with him, but she knew that the other two guys were ahead of his connection. She knew that. So I think she came into this date knowing that she was going to have to send him home this week. And she was struggling with that fact. She was struggling with how she was going to do it, how she was going to tell him, obviously, because they're in such a unique spot. They have such a great relationship, and she feels bad about having to let him go, knowing that she's more into the other guys. She used this random moment to kind of justify feeling disconnected from the relationship. Now, I thought it was completely, like, she was overreacting completely. She was kind of doing the most, as I would say. Don't leave the date in the most dramatic way and make him stand there and question what's going on. Like, just be straight up about it, because you know what needed to be done in this moment. She does go back to Jason and kind of apologize for leaving and offers him the night date portion. So they are going to get a little bit more time to figure out what is really going on in their relationship. Now we're at dinner, and in Becca's confessional, she's talking about how she had a moment when they were out talking about the architecture, as we know, where in that moment she realized that she just could not see it with him as much as she saw with the other guys. She feels like their relationship has potential. She feels like she really likes him and that she could fall in love with him. But when it comes to comparing it to Garrett and Blake, he is not at that level with her. Even though she knows that there is ways to go with their relationship, she feels like because of where they are, she needs to give them this time to get back on track. She feels like she owes him this much. So they do sit down at dinner, and Jason is kind of clear on what's going on. He knows that something was up when they were out. He knows that she stepped aside and it was weird. He's sensing that something is up. And I think Jason realizes this is go time. This is the time to tell her how you're feeling. She about to send your ass home. You better let it all out before you hear those words of, can I walk you out? So Jason just starts and tells her, you know what? I really enjoyed bringing you to meet my family. All of my family members loved you. I got an approval from all of them. And if you would have told me coming into this process that I would have fallen in love with you, and I would have came into this and like actually gone all the way and actually be able to feel all of these feelings, I would have thought you are crazy. But he's like, to be honest with you, I am all the way in it with you. I can see you as my wife, as my partner. I am so in love with you, and I'm so invested in this relationship. You see how far we've come with what we've been given, and imagine how much further we can go with the time that we still have. So he's letting it be known that they have something super special. They have something that she can't say she has with the other guys. He's letting her know why their relationship should stand the test of this damn week. He knows what's up, and he ain't going down without a fight. Okay? You are absolutely right. I did enjoy meeting your family. I feel like they were so sweet. I had such a good time. We always have such a good connection. We always have such a good time. We're always just so good together, and I always miss you when you're gone, and I don't doubt that our relationship, you know, is in a good spot. And as Becca is talking, you could tell that she's trying to figure out how she's going to tell him that he's getting the boot. And of course, in true Becca fashion, mid-sentence, she's just like, you know what? Can I have a minute? So she gets up and she starts pacing. She starts trying to figure out, what am I going to tell this guy? How am I going to face him and basically blindside him and tell him he's going home? She genuinely feels bad about having to send him home. And I don't doubt that she feels bad. I just think that it is what it is. It's time. It's time to be honest and straightforward and give him something that he can hold on to. Stop leaving the table. Stop leaving the situation. Face it head on and tell him what you're thinking. Because in the end, honesty and an explanation is what he's going to need right now. So she does return to the table and she tells him, you know what? There was a moment during our day portion of this date where we were joking about furniture and what we would have in our house. And she said, I at first mentioned that I wanted that piece of architecture in my house, but then because I was with you, I almost felt obligated to say our house. And it was in that moment where I realized, wow, I struggle with visualizing our future together. We're not going to get there in the end. I'm not going to be able to get there in the end with you. And he was just like, so what does that mean? She was just like, honestly, we have such a strong connection, but I just feel like my connection with the other two are a lot stronger. And even though I see potential with you, I just don't think in the end we're going to get there. And I think it just means that I don't want to take you into the fantasy suite knowing how I feel or what I'm going to feel leaving the fantasy suite. Basically telling him, it was good to kiss. You're the best kisser and all, but I don't want to risk it. He is just shook. Jason is looking at her like, I already knew this was coming, but again, I ain't going down without a fight. So he's just like, okay, so you say you see potential and you say that you feel like we might not be able to get there, but can you really genuinely say that you can't see a future with us? Like, you really can genuinely say that there's no chance with us? And she says, no, I can't. I just feel like I can say stronger for the other guys that I see a future with them. We still have a lot more time to go. We still have more time to figure out if those feelings can grow more, and look at everything we've been able to accomplish up until this point. Like, can't you go off of that with the short amount of time we've had to build our relationship? Look at where we've gone. So imagine what a fantasy suite could do. I think Jason was trying to say, you haven't even let me show you what. I think Jason is kind of mad because he was looking forward to that little time with her. He said he's this close. He definitely wants her to get his whole package before she makes a decision. And Becca is very, very, very firm on her decision that she can't really give him a full answer. Jason, it's just like, okay, I'm really hurt. I didn't see this coming. I do think you're an amazing person, and you know I always want happiness for you, and I only wish happiness for you. She says, you know, I wish you happiness too. Can I walk you out? And he's like, okay. So she's walking him out and they're hugging goodbye, and you could tell that it feels very unresolved. Jason still has a lot more questions. He still has a lot of arguments he wants to make after thinking about it as he's walking out, and you could just see that he's not comfortable with how he's leaving. He doesn't feel like he's getting a fair chance, especially not getting the fantasy suite. Becca has made up her mind. She just knows that she has greater feelings for the other two guys, and it's nothing against Jason. It's just that this is what it is. She can only pick one person, and he just happens to fall in number 3. And it's okay, Bex. It's okay. Like, it's the process. But of course, Becca starts running around the damn resort. She's crying, talking about, I can't believe I just did that. I feel like Ari right now. She's on a bed, which I don't even know where that bed came from, but she jumps on the bed and lays on her face on the bed and just rolling, sobbing into the bed. And I'm like, Becca, like, she really felt bad about letting him go. I absolutely love how Jason handled this. I love how he was pressing her for information, because y'all know I feel like Becca, when she makes up her mind, she just doesn't know how to explain what she's feeling, and that's something she needs to really work on, because you need to be able to give somebody something to hold on to, or they're never going to be resolved with the breakup. And again, sometimes there's not always an explanation, and I get that, but it's constant with Becca. It's something that she really struggles with. Jason is very great with his words. We saw it through this episode. He should be a lawyer, because he can make you feel so invested in the relationship, and he really was able to explain why he was in love with Becca, and I think that's why he's taking this so hard. I don't think it's gonna be easy break for him right now, and I don't think Jason got all his answers. Now we're back in Becca's hotel room, and we do see her lying down in her bed, and she is struggling with the fact that she just sent Jason home. She feels terrible about it. She feels like she did what Ari did to her. She feels like he won't understand why she did it to him, but she's hoping that she can put these feelings aside so that she can truly enjoy her date with Garrett today. Now we are here at the date with Garrett, and she greets Garrett again. She jumps all over that man. She is all over that man, and he literally has the goofiest face. He's just like, y'all know he's very animated, but in this episode, he has the goofiest facial expressions. He's just like, sit down somewhere. She tells Garrett that she has a great date planned for them. She's like, they're going to be doing an outdoor sport, and they're going to be having fun in these Thai streets, okay? They're going to be bamboo rafting, y'all. It's basically similar to a paddleboard. They're standing on it, and they have like the bamboo chute to move them around, and she tells them that it's going to be a very romantic and carefree and relaxing float on this nice river. Now they get on these bamboo rafts and they start, you know, pushing through, and all of a sudden all of these people appear. Like, it was just a whole bunch of people. She thought this time would be romantic and intimate with Garrett. Little did she know that the day they were rafting was on a Thai national holiday. So everyone and their mama was in this water. It was just a lot of bumping of Garrett's raft and bumping Becca's raft. And you could just tell that they were trying to have fun and just embrace it. But it was a lot of chaos and a lot of commotion. And I think it's very representative of what their relationship looks like. That was shade. They get off of their rafts and they are sitting down, canoodling right next to the water and talking about how much fun this date was. They mentioned how chaotic it was, but how even with all of the people surrounding them, they were able to focus on each other and just enjoy the time. Doesn't matter what's going on, they are always, always, always right here with each other. They're always, always, always having an amazing time with each other, and it's something that he really loves about the relationship, this relationship with Becca. Becca's just telling him that, I love the time we spend, I miss you when you're away, and I knew that this was going to be a fun date, but you made this part of the date even more fun. So we're heading into the dinner portion of the date, and we're hearing in Becca's confessional that around this time with Ari, she had to really start to have the conversations about what the future would look like. She has to start asking these guys, what do they really see as a future with her? How do they see working out distance? And you know, Becca is big on 50-50, so she wanted to know from Ari what his ideals were about marriages and what they would bring to it and what they would give. And she knew when she was talking to Ari that he wasn't always clear on what he wanted. Even though he said he knew what he wanted, it was very different in what he was telling her he wanted. And so it's very important for her in this moment to figure out if Garrett understands how significant a proposal is, how significant this commitment is, because they have the foundation of a funny, genuine love. The love is there. She's in love with him. But she needs to know if Garrett understands how serious this commitment is and if he's ready to make that commitment with her. Now we start to hear them talking about the deep stuff. Now, Garrett up until this point has not told Becca that he's in love with her, maybe because he has had a past marriage and he wants to be very careful, or maybe it's because what I think, he's not really all the way into her and he's just trying to figure out where his actual feelings lie. I've had a hard time coming from a hard marriage. It's hard for me to admit when I feel something, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I struggle with thinking, what if this doesn't work out? What if you know, what if I come out here, I fall for you, and it doesn't work out in the end? But he was like, one thing that I can really hold on to is when I first met you, how I felt when I first met you. I walked out of that limo, you looked so stunning. You looked so incredible. And I just remember you giving me that first impression rose, and I couldn't believe you were giving it to me. And it's just all of these little things of figuring out who you are and what this relationship means to me and to you. It made me understand that I am in love with you, and I see a future with you, and I want to be the one at the end. And I could see throughout that entire conversation, Becca's face changed like 5 times. As soon as he said, oh, I was a little nervous about if I could make that commitment to you, Becca's face was just like, but then when he starts getting into the, oh, but when we first met, I remember how I looked at you, you were so gorgeous, she was just like, and then as soon as he said, I love you, her ass was chasing so damn hard. I'm like, but we ain't at no Chuck E. Cheese. What you grinning for? I felt nothing. I felt nothing when he said, I love you. I felt like he was literally finessing her the entire time. I feel like he was trying to figure out what he was going to say as he was talking. And yeah, that's pretty much every natural conversation. That's what it is. But I think that he didn't know if he was going to say I love you or not. He was just like, whatever comes out of my mouth, I'm just going to have to roll with it. He had no conviction in any of the things he was saying. I felt nothing, and I felt like he felt obligated to say those words to her in this moment because of where they are in the process, and because he's looking at her and he knows that she's invested in him. But somehow Becca is grinning. She's so excited to hear him say I love you without even assessing if that even feels real. Okay. Basically, it seems like hearing I love you from Garrett was the magic words that Becca was looking for. Even though she has concerns about if he will commit and if he can really take it to the next level, if he can really bring more to the table than just being goofy and being in love with her, it seems like all of those concerns go out of the window, because as soon as she hears I love you, it's like that damn fantasy suite card arrives and she's just like, do you want to go to the fantasy suite? And he agrees. So I think the key words to get up in that fantasy suite was for him to tell Becca that he loves her. He did that, and he came to the room and opened the door. But only it wasn't a door, y'all. It was a tree house. Have y'all ever been to a treehouse in Thailand? I'm sick of y'all bachelor budget. I'm sick of it. It baffles me. It baffles me why. Are we 5? I don't even know if this damn treehouse had a bathroom, but they enter into this treehouse and it looks like they do have a comfortable bed, so that is the upside to this. So Becca and Garrett do wake up the next morning, and my good sis Becca ain't got no clothes on. She's covering herself with the sheets, and they're making it quite obvious to let us know that, yep, what you thought about the fantasy suites and what you think was going on in the fantasy suite, confirmed. She's looking up at him like, oh my God, you were so cute, you were so fine, you were so everything, like I am so into you. And I'm just like, wow. Blake, sir, I'm worried for you. They are talking about how much fun they had talking and how she really feels like they progressed their relationship to the next level. She feels like she understands him better, and now she wholeheartedly knows that he is in love with her. She feels the love from him, and she just can't stress enough how much this time has done for their relationship. She feels like they've skipped leaps and bounds ahead of everything, and that they're in such a good place. They're even, you know, mentioning how they should do this in the future, that this is glamping and everything. They're already making plans to return in the future. So yeah, this looked to go in Garrett's favor. I'm not even going to lie in this moment. So after all of these fantasy suites are done, you think that it would be the end of the episode, but absolutely not. We're hearing clunky footsteps, and we're seeing a very swagful gaits. You know what I'm saying? I just started to see legs moving, and I was just like, ooh, a walk, ooh, a look, ooh, shoes. I was like, who is this coming through with all of this swag? And we start seeing shoulders. I'm like, who is this? And then they pan and we see that it's Jason. Y'all, Jason is saying that he's coming back. He didn't like the way Becca and his conversation ended, and he has a lot of things he wants to address with Becca before he can leave Thailand. Jason appears at Becca's room and she is just like, whoa, hey, what's up? You know, she's surprised to see him, but you could tell that she's excited that he's there. I think she definitely felt bad about how things ended, and I don't think she felt like, oh my God, why are you here? I think she relished the fact that he came back for this closure. So he comes in and he just lets her know, hey, I didn't want to leave Thailand before establishing, you know, a better closure than what we had. I feel like I still had so many questions and I just didn't want to question anything leaving the situation. So he's just like, again, like, what was it? Why did you close the door? And she's just like, I felt really bad about not being able to give you that answer. But again, you're such a great guy. Like, you're the best guy I've ever met. And it was so hard for me to make that decision in that moment, because I just know that I didn't want to put you through this fantasy suite and this week if I knew how I felt in that moment. And it doesn't take away from who you are or our relationship, and I don't want you to ever doubt anything you did. It wasn't you at all. It just so happened that my heart felt it a little bit more with these other guys, and I didn't want to have to put you through that stress and that strain. And I know I blindsided you, and I know you didn't see it coming, and I feel terrible about that, but you are still one of the best guys I've ever known, and I don't want you to leave here thinking any different about yourself. And you could tell that really touched him. I think these are the words he's looking for. He tells Becca, I never, ever, ever thought that I would leave this feeling like this. But I feel so much love for you, and I have so much love for you, and I still, even if it's not me, I still wish you the best, and I still want the best for you, and I understand. He's hurt. And you can tell he's still harboring a lot of emotions. But one thing that Jason is straightforward. He's honest. He is eloquent. And he is able to communicate about how he's feeling. And in this moment, it wasn't about her taking him back. It was about her giving him the proper closure that he deserved. He wanted to hear the reason for why it wasn't going to work. And she gives it to him. And I could tell that was enough for Jason. He's still hurt. He's still in his feelings. He still really wants to be with her. But I think that in the end, he is okay with hearing a proper reason of why it's not going to be him. So he does tell her that he wishes her nothing but the best. He wants her to find her true happiness. And she tells him the same thing and just is like, do you know how great you are? Do you know what you deserve? Do you understand? Like, I still want the best for you. I hope you understand that I still wish you well. And he was a little big mad in the beginning. He was looking like stoic or whatever, but towards the end he warmed up and agreed that he understands that she wants the best for him and he wants the best for her. So they're leaving on a very positive note. Before he leaves for good, he does tell her that he wanted to give her a gift that he was going to give her the night of their fantasy suite. But we know that didn't pan out too well for him. So he wants to give it to her now, and that she should open it when he's not around. So they do hug. They do, you know, finally break things off the clean way that Jason was looking for, and he leaves, and he's saying in his confessional that he's glad he had that time. It's super hard to hear that it just wasn't them in the end, but he's so happy to have met Becca, and he thinks she's such an incredible woman, and he wishes her nothing but the best. And back in Becca's hotel room, she's looking through the book and she's sobbing over what he gave her. I think it's a book of pictures of them, and I could just tell that throughout this whole thing, I feel like they're setting Jason up for kind of a Bachelor edit, which I think is kind of shocking a little bit. He was not on my Bachelor radar, but I could definitely see with these scenes and how mature he is, I could see him in the running for Bachelor. And I don't know how I feel about it. I will be announcing like a official like nomination from my side, but I definitely think that he's such a solid guy. He's able to communicate how he's feeling, and for that, he is good in my book. So Jason is out this episode, but I'm sure we will see him again. I'm so sure of it. I'm so sure. Wow, we've gotten through the fantasy suites. We know that there's Garrett and Blake left, and we know that she's in love with both of them. But for some reason, they have to end this episode off with a rose ceremony. We can't let Garrett's rose garden go to waste. Garrett and Blake line up, and they are looking around, looking at each other like, where is Jason? They even, you could tell they don't want to really talk to each other, but they're kind of start at one point whispering like, where do you think he is? You think he's coming? And Blake is just like, I don't know. They are definitely speculating about where they think Jason is. Now, Becca does come in and she tells them that she sent Jason home because she knew that her feelings were very strong with the two of them. And I think as soon as she said the two of them, Blake initially during this rose ceremony was looking geeked, he was looking happy, he was looking excited. But as soon as she said two of them, Blake was like his face completely changed. He looked so sad, he looked so disheartened, he looked so heartbroken, because it's like she's confirming to the both of them, I'm in love with both of you. I am struggling with this. He knows that she really likes the both of them, and his worst fears are starting to be confirmed. He's worried about what this means for the final rose. So even though she does give out both of the roses to both Blake and Garrett, I think Blake is shook to his core. He's nervous about their future. He's nervous about what's going to happen if she picks Garrett, and he's already mentally preparing himself for what that would look like. Like, I saw all of those emotions on his face as he was waiting during this rose ceremony. Once she does give out the roses, Garrett decides that he's going to give a toast to all of them, and he starts tearing up about how he feels about her, and he's just like, I'm so excited about where we are. And it was so out of left field, his little speech. I was a little taken off guard. I was like, okay. But he's telling her that he's so happy about being here with her. He's so happy that they got the opportunity to meet, and he's so happy about what this next week is gonna look like for their relationship. And in his confessional, he's crying even more about how nervous he is if she doesn't pick him. He keeps saying, I don't know what I'm gonna do if she doesn't pick me. Like, I haven't even really thought that through. And he's starting to show more emotion than we've seen at all from him this entire season. So Garrett is starting to show up and say, I'm in this, that's my woman. And I just realized that, wow, there's only one person left in the way of our relationship. And same on Blake's side. We've heard Blake say that he is in love with her. He can't imagine another guy in this process loving her like he does, but he can't imagine her loving another guy like she loves him. So he is worried about Becca's love for him and not his love for Becca, because he feels like he loves her more than any of these guys here, but he worries that she might not love him the same. So we are stuck in a really hard place. We're starting to see some really strong emotions from these guys, and it is going to be a fight to the finish. They're going to end this entire season in the Maldives, and oh my God, like, I can already tell that episode is going to be incredible. She has admitted to loving them both. She has admitted to not admitting to them that she loves them both, so she doesn't hurt one person, the person that she picks. She wants to only tell the person she picks, I love you. But at this point, Becca has a decision to make. She is in love with them both. It's obvious, and whoever doesn't get picked is going to be crushed. I'm just praying that Becca does what she needs to do and picks the guy who is genuinely into her, and that person is Blake. When it comes to Garrett, it's chaos, it's a lot of baggage, it's a lot to deal with, and it's a lot of uncertainty. But when it comes to Blake, he is someone that she can grow with, and I hope that she goes after the guy who will love her more than she can love them. And I think that Blake is that guy. When it comes to 50-50, Garrett is not the one to give her 50-50. She's giving him 70, he's giving her 30. She's carrying the weight of the relationship. But when it comes to Blake, they are truly 50-50. So I'm hoping that going into this last week, she's thinking about all of the things she truly came here for. And she's considering all of the chemistry and everything that these guys have told her. And I hope that that will inform her decision and lead her to who it's supposed to lead her to. And that is Blake. If she somehow derails from that fact, we are going to have a lot to discuss in the finale, okay? But you know they're gonna give us a little reprieve. Next week is the men tell all, and after that will be the finale. So we do have a lot more to get into as far as stuff to discuss. But this is pretty much the end of my week 9 recap. Again, I just want to thank you so much, so much to all of my subscribers who are, y'all are so down and so loyal. You come back every week, you like, you comment, you share, and you show me so much love. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for the support. And again, if you have not subscribed, if you have not liked at this point, hit it. Just tap, just tap it real quick, and then type your comment, and then come back, because you never know what's gonna be on my channel, okay? Turn those notifications on, and you already know what it is. Black girl who watches The Bachelorette has told you how she feels about week 9. Like, tell me what you're thinking, okay? So y'all be good this week, and I will see you in my next video.